Multisig on mobile? BlueWallet answers a resounding yes, as we will see in today's video, where we dig into the fantastic multi-signature vault support that the BlueWallet Bitcoin mobile app offers. Let's jump in. Welcome back to another video. My name is Ian Major. I'm an entrepreneur, Bitcoin pleb, and all-around raging capitalist. And yes, I've been pretty excited to do this video. This is in direct response to what several of you have requested in terms of seeing more examples of multi-signature setups. And so in today's video, I'm going to be using the BlueWallet mobile app, which is available for both iOS and Android, and which has fantastic multi-sig support built in. I'm going to be showing how to do that in tandem with a cold card hardware wallet, but I'll also provide some commentary on some of the different ways you might set this up. So you won't want to miss a thing. For those returning to the channel, welcome back, my friends. It is nothing short than a pleasure to have you. And for those new to the channel, and I know there are many of you, even still, there are about 80% of you watching right this very second who are currently not subscribed. And so if you like this content, I invite you to consider subscribing and join us in our merry gang in cyberspace. I cover all manner of Bitcoin-related content, including wallet tutorials like this, Bitcoin mining, running your own node, Lightning Network, DeFi on Bitcoin, news, analysis. You want it, I cover it. But with all that out of the way, though, let's go ahead and jump into the meat for today. I want to first start just very, very briefly with a quick motivation and overview for why this is important, particularly for those who might be a little bit newer to the concept of multi-sig. And after that, we will get right into the walkthrough. So first I want to just cover some brief context and motivation for multisig. For those of you who are already well familiar with the concept and history, feel free to skip along to the actual walkthrough. But particularly if you're newer to this concept, I encourage you to listen through this as well. Multisig or multi-signature is the concept of requiring multiple valid signatures to unlock funds for a particular Bitcoin wallet. And so conceptually, think of this like a padlock where you have multiple keys that are required to unlock the lock. And how this is kind of organized is through what's called a quorum, or a K of N quorum, where any K of N keys are required to authorize or provide the required number of valid signatures to be able to spend the Bitcoin from that multisig wallet. Example, a 2 of 3 multisig means that there are 3 total valid signers, and you require any 2 of those in order to send funds. Now, there's a lot of ways you can configure this. You could do a 2 of 2 multisig, so there's 2 total signers, and you need both of them in order to, in order to spend the UTXOs from that multisig wallet, or to spend your funds. But you can also do a lot of other configurations. And so in today's video, I'm going to do a 2 of 2 using the BlueWallet as one of them. And then I'm also going to be using my cold card device for the other. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you could do this. I've become quite fond of the Foundation Devices Passport, which supports QR codes for conducting partially signed Bitcoin transactions, which is required for making this all work. And so that's a really nice option as well. But really any wallet, be that hardware or software that supports multisig is kind of valid, for this exercise. And so I'm just going to show you kind of one possible configuration. And again, like the reason that this is important is particularly for large amounts of funds, very large Bitcoin stack, you want as much security as you can possibly get. I just did a video that I will put up here and link in the description down below, where I go into the sort of full derivation of how wallets go from initial entropy to seeds, recovery phrases, private keys, public keys, addresses, etc. So I encourage you to check it out, because as part of that, I go into just how unfathomably difficult it is to sort of, people say crack Bitcoin, but what they really are referring to is producing a collision with a hash of SHA-256. Or said another way, how hard is it? How long would it take me to guess your private key, which would give me access to your funds? The answer is outrageously difficult. And so honestly, if you go back even a year or two, which is not that far, I probably would have said that for the average user, just like forget multisig. It's a little bit more complex. There weren't as many kind of very user-friendly ways to set it up. And so because single sig is already so wildly secure, it's just kind of like risk reward at that point. But now there are a slew of really, really good, very user-friendly interfaces that allow for this. And BlueWallet is certainly one of them. So I'm excited to go into this video today. Let's now, with all of that context, go into the actual walkthrough itself. All right, fam, so we are in my BlueWallet. Again, I've done tutorials both on BlueWallet and Coldcard that I will flash up here and link in the description down below. So if you're totally new to either of these tools, you probably want to check those out first. But let's get going. They make this pretty easy. So the first thing we actually want to do is go up to these three dots in the top right. And so I'll click this. I know it's a little bit hard to see exactly where I'm clicking, given that I'm sort of screen recording this, but I'll talk you through it step by step. And then we want to go to the general settings, and we want to enable advanced mode, because that's going to allow us to create more custom multisig configurations other than the recommended 2 of 3 that they default to. So we'll do that. We'll come back, and now we'll go to the plus sign near the top right to create a new wallet. And you'll see there are 3 options. We are going to create a vault. So let's give this a name. We could do multisig test, and I'll select the vault option. So we're going to go ahead and hit create. And it says a vault is a 2 of 3 multisig wallet. It needs 2 vault keys to spend, and a third one you can use as a backup. It says best practice 2 of 3 quorum. We're going to actually click into this and change it. And so I'm going to do a 2 of 2 multisig. But as you can see, you can configure this as you wish. And in terms of derivation and wallet type, I'm going to leave it as the best practice here. So let's go ahead and hit done. And let's start at the bottom. So you can now see we need to basically create 2 keys and or import, right? And so you could have had more than this, and you can import, create new, etc. So we're going to create a new one for our first key. So I'm going to hit create new. And here are the 12 words that correspond to my seed for this new key. And so, I'm not going to hide this on the recording, but you will obviously never want to share this with anyone. This is your sort of recovery phrase for this initial key. So if you were doing this in reality, you would write this down and never share it with anyone. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hit done. And now for the second key, I actually want to import it from my Coldcard. And so you can see when you hit import, it allows you to either scan or import a file. And so I'm going to hop over now and show how to generate this file using our Coldcard. All right, so I've got my Coldcard, and I've got it powered up to my sort of battery supply. And so I'm all logged in with my PIN and everything. I've done the kind of initial setup. And so again, if you're brand new to this, check out my other video that I will link in the description down below for a more basic Coldcard tutorial. So what we want to do is come all the way down to settings, and we'll go ahead and enter here. And then we want to scroll down to where it says Multisig wallets. So we'll go ahead and click the check mark. And what we want to do is export the XPub, or the extended public key. I recently did a video that goes into kind of extended public keys and all the derivation for that. So check that out if you're so curious. But in essence, what an extended public key does is it sort of represents all the potential child public key and resulting addresses that a particular wallet seed contains, given the kind of hierarchical deterministic kind of structure of these kind of modern wallets. And so I'm going to actually grab a micro SD card, which I've got here, and I'm going to put it in the cold card like so. And that should click in nicely, and then we'll go ahead and hit Export XPub. This feature creates a small file containing the extended public keys, and you can see the file name. So it's going to basically write a JSON file to the microSD. All right, so we've got that now on our SD. So now the key is to get that file that we just created into our phone. And so given that this is air-gapped, or I'm using it in an air-gapped fashion, there's a couple ways you can do it. I'm going to, since I don't have, since I'm using an iPhone and I don't have the Lightning to SD adapter, I'm going to do this in a rather roundabout way by first putting it on my computer and then sending it to myself with something like Telegram, or you could even do email, whatever. And so in an ideal world, you'd want to, ideally directly put this into like a Lightning to SD adapter that you could plug directly into your iPhone, or there are certain Android models I know that have a direct slot for you. But either way, no matter how you say it, we want to get this file on our phone. And so once we do that, we will be right back. All right, so I've got the file from the cold card on my phone now. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit import, and I'll hit scan or import a file here at the bottom. And I'm going to click this little icon near the bottom. So basically not the picture, but the other one that looks like a file. And I'm going to go into my downloads where I have it, and here we go. And so there you go. So I've imported the extended public key to form the second key of our 2 of 2 multisig. So let's go ahead and hit create. Alrighty, so we've got our multisig wallet created. Now there's one last setup step that we have to do. So basically, as of right now, our cold card has no idea that this multisig wallet has been created, right? It simply provided some information about itself, but it has no idea about this sort of other wallet that we've sort of joined forces with to create this multisig. And so we need to essentially tell it that. And so BlueWallet makes that really easy. What you can do is click into your wallet, and we'll want to go to the 3 dots in the top right. And if we scroll down, we'll see this option, Export Coordination Setup. And that is what we want. So we'll go ahead and hit this. And as you will see, it will provide a couple options. There's one scrolling QR code option. However, given that we're working with the cold card, we will need to instead operate through the microSD. And so what we're going to do here is hit the share button, and we're going to download this as a file on our phone and then get it over to our microSD. And I will be right back once we have that, and once we have that microSD back in our cold card. All right, we are back. And so I've got my cold card again, and I've got the microSD with that sort of coordination, backup file from BlueWallet. And so I'm in the very same menu I was in just a moment ago. So, if you're at this kind of home page equivalent, you go down to settings, multi-sig wallets. And then instead of export, we want to import from the SD card. So I'll hit check. And it says pick multisig wallet file to import. There is only one file to pick from. And so it would present you with options if there were more than one, but we'll go ahead and hit OK. And there it is, multisig test. It's a text file. And we will say yes. And it says create new multisig wallet, wallet name multisig test. And you will even get, other information about it. It's 2 of 2. All 2 cosigners must approve spends, and it will give you all the sort of gory detail, etc. And so we can go ahead and hit OK to approve this. And as we can see, we now have our 2 of 2 multisig on our cold card. So we are good to go. Now let's jump back to BlueWallet and show how to send and receive funds. All right, so we've set up our multisig in BlueWallet and we've conveyed that information to the cold card so that we can later generate a valid signature when we need to send funds. And so let's go ahead and play around with this. First, receiving funds into this wallet is the exact same as basically anything else, or at least it looks the same as anything else. So all I need to do is come down and hit receive at the bottom. And it says, have you saved your wallet's backup phrase? This backup phrase is required to access your funds in case you lose this device. Without the backup phrase, your funds will be permanently lost. I actually haven't. I will show you how to do that in just a moment, but I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I have. And so we've got ourselves a normal Bitcoin receive address. And so I'm going to essentially copy this to the clipboard. And let's just come back and go to one of the other wallets I have on here and go to this guy. And so we can go ahead and send, and I will paste the address in here. I'll say multisig test, and I'm going to send, let's say, 50,000 sats. So I'll go ahead and hit next, and we can confirm it looks good. Go ahead and hit send. And we'll be right back once this gets confirmed. All right, so we've got our first confirmation on that transaction. You can see we've got the 50,000 sats that we just sent across, which is great. And so now we want to show how we can send funds out of our multisig. And so for that, of course, we come down first to the send option. Actually, first I'll grab an address. So I'm actually just going to use this other one, and I'll generate a receive address here. So I'm just copying this address, and I'll come back to my multisig wallet. And so we want to send to that other address. And so I will paste that in. And we can make a memo note if we want. Test 2. I'm in no particular rush, so I'll hit slow on the fee. All right, so let's go ahead and send the full amount, less the fee, of course. So that's going to be 49,000 sats, 825. And we'll go ahead and hit next. And so now you can see that my BlueWallet has already signed for Vault Key 1. So that's done. But now we need to get the signature from the cold card. And so what I can do is say provide signature. And if I had, a different device that supported QR code, I could scan it. So pretty simple. Or in the case of the cold card, I can work with the files and the micro SD. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit share, get the file, which is a partially signed Bitcoin transaction, onto the micro SD and into my cold card, and we will be right back. Okay, we are back. So I've got the partially signed Bitcoin transaction from BlueWallet on my micro SD that I've put back in the cold card. And so what I want to do is come back to the front page here, and I can go to ready to sign. Choose partially signed Bitcoin transaction file to be signed. There are 2 files to pick from. And so I will pick this first one, which is the proper or the correct one that I just was working with. And so it's reading it in, validating, and it will recap. And so we see the replay of our 49,825 sats to the particular address that we've specified, etc., etc. It gives us the fee amount. Press OK to approve and sign the transaction. So I'll hit OK. It says wait. Signing, and it has now provided me with an updated signed file with the following name. So this big number -part.psbt, and I should be all good. So now I have the additional signature. And so I'm going to get that file from the micro SD back onto my phone, and we'll wrap this up. All right, home stretch. So I've got the signature from my cold card on the file that is now on my phone. And so I can go back to the provide signature, and I can import a file. I will again choose the files here, and I can see the file right here at the top. And there we go. So I've got both valid signatures, and so I can go ahead and hit confirm at the bottom. And last confirmation, send now. And there you go. So there we go. It is now pending, and I will see it in the other wallet. But there you go. We set up the multisig. We showed how to receive and send funds. And there's the last thing I just want to really quickly comment on, and that is the backup. So if I go to the 3 dots in the top right, you'll see that there is the export backup right here as that kind of first option. And then you also have the export coordination setup. I would recommend just sort of doing both of those. Between those, you will always be able to recreate and restore your multi-sig setup. You also want to, of course, make sure you have the backup individually of whatever other wallet you are using as part of your multi-sig configuration. That way you have everything, right? So with all of that, let's now go ahead and wrap this video up. All right, my friends, there you have it. We covered a lot of ground, as we always do in these tutorials. Just as a quick recap, we created a 2 of 2 multisig using the BlueWallet Multisig Vault interface, and the 2 signers within that multisig included our BlueWallet as well as the cold card. But as I alluded to at the outset, you can use a lot of different methods. There's a lot of ways to skin this cat, as they say. And so, you have other hardware wallets like the Foundation Devices Passport that actually supports QR codes, which is an easier way to pass this information back and forth, other than microSD. There's the Kobo Vault. There's also just software wallets such as Sparrow. Really anything where you can, you have multisig support, and you can get your extended pub key or your XPub, should be able to support this type of setup. But what do you think? I am curious to hear. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If there are other configurations you'd like to see in future videos, I really do take that into account when making the schedule for the channel. But take your time with this, especially if you're new. Test out a little, small amount of funds. Make sure that you can kind of, you're comfortable with the backups, etc. before you sort of, put a ton of funds into your multisig. But a very nice sort of, it's nice that the average user now has some pretty compelling options to do this. But I hope you found this valuable and useful. If you did, you already know what to do. Give this video a like. Let me know your thoughts. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave this video here. As always, my friends, every sack counts, especially if it's protected by a multisig vault. And until next time, I'll see you then.